Ever since I can remember, I've been playing first person shooters, more commonly known as FPS games. One of the first video games I remember playing is Halo Reach with my older brother. It's one of my favorite FPS games and by far my favorite Halo game. I fell in love with the weapons, vehicles, story, and co op mechanics. In more recent years, I've exchanged my time that used to be spent playing Halo into more competitive multiplayer focused FPS games, such as Valorant, Fortnite, and Overwatch, to name a few. Although these games are vastly different from something like Halo, the core mechanic of being in the first person perspective using a melee weapon or ranged gun remains the same. I've spent a lot time I've spent a lot of time training my aim, game sense, and communication skills to get better at these games in an effort to one day hopefully achieve an impressive rank. Even though this is still one of the goals I'm working towards, more recently I've been thinking of something that might be more impressive, or at the very least, more fulfilling. Game development. Ever since I was little, I dreamed of making a game. I used to make small game prototypes in a now outdated game engine called Construct 2. It was only ever simple platformers with no gameplay depth that went further than the original Super Mario Bros. However, this passion for creating games never truly left me. Several years later, I began learning Unity and Engine, which are both very prevalent in the games industry, but I never got past simple modifications to built-in templates or very basic tutorials. I also tried my hand at 3D modeling in Blender, but I always lost motivation after a couple of weeks. Until one night, I stumbled across a YouTube channel called Pirate Software. I first saw his YouTube shorts encouraging people to make games, and then I proceeded to watch his streams where he'd answer game dev questions and like other things that really encouraged me. This motivated me to practice making games again. I decided to work in Game Maker Studio, which is an engine that he used for developing his games. It was also the same game engine that Undertale and Deltarune were made in. I made several game prototypes, followed more in depth tutorials, and even almost submitted something to a game jam. But once again, I stopped. I'm not sure why. Maybe life got in the way. Maybe I thought I wasn't good enough. Or maybe I was afraid to truly try. Regardless, after a lot of reflection lately, I've decided to give it another go. For real this time. I will be making devlogs on this channel showing my efforts from a game dev beginner to intermediate to hopefully one day being an expert. Also, instead of spending less than a couple of weeks on learning, I plan to stay committed to this for at least a full year. If I'm not satisfied with myself at the end and feel like I didn't make any meaningful progress, I'll give up for good. On the flip side, if I do make any meaningful progress, then I'll keep going. And one day, maybe release my own game that you guys can play. If you want to see my game dev journey, feel free to subscribe. Also, if you're an inspiring game dev as well, or have any advice that could help me, feel free to let me know in the comments. Even if you just comment on what your favorite FPS game of all time is, I'll be thrilled to read each and every single one of them. This is 5star10, aka Abe, signing off.